I'm sitting down with 10,000 against I create for you. A very funky name. Basically just sat down with 10,000. Gonna quit if I get up to more than 20, and of course if I get to 0. We'll start with a little funky re-raise, which was actually more of a misclick than anything else. I would have re-raised the full amount. Well, unfortunately, maybe unfortunately, my opponent re-raised, so this could be a very quick session because it looked like we're going to get 10,000 in from the get-go, and I hope my 2 queens holds up. Against 2 jacks with an ace, it's not looking very good. Ooh! I think we hit a queen on the river. So basically now I have 19,950. That was not quite enough. So I need to win one more hand to get to 20,000. Basically this is very short stacked. This is short stacked pot limit Omaha, and once you get a raise and a re-raise and you hit anything before the flop or have any kind of hand pre-flop, all the money could very well go into the middle. And as we saw, I had king, queen, queen, 8 with 1 suit, and I was up against ace, jack, jack, 5 with 1 suit, and we decided to put basically 10,000 to the middle. I was a slight favorite in the hand, nothing overwhelming, but my guesstimate is somewhere in the 60-40 range. Fortunately, I lost the next hand, so now I'm at 19,200. So hopefully it won't go all downhill from here. A very mediocre hand. Ace, jack, 7-3. Nothing really to brag about. Deciding to check and probably let it go if I can't bluff it right here for $400. Absolutely nothing but 2 gut shots. And now I have absolutely nothing but 2 sevens. Unfortunately, that did not work. Very ugly. My opponent right now is Chufty, a somewhat tight player, but good player, and I like to re-raise, or I like to raise against him before the flop a lot, just because he has tight starting requirements, which makes it easy to pick up a couple of hands pre-flop. Here I made a straight on the river. I did flop top pair in a gut shot, which I could have bet. I decided not to. Let's see here. I'm going for the funky mini raise, which was good enough to take down the pot. I'm now again at 19,200. Still need a little bit more to get over the 20,000 that I set out to. Probably should have. Okay. Flop 2 pair, 8s and 4s. Even though there's a straight on the board, I think in general people in pot limit Omaha has a tendency to believe that once there's straights or flushes out there, they always believe their opponents to have them. That is not the case. It's not that easy to flop a straight. It's not that easy to hold a flush. So, but my 8s and 4s seemed a little skimpy against a pot-sized raise. Here, king, king, 7-4, 2 kings, standard raise, and some might say a standard fold from Chufty. He is in the tight category. We now have I create for you joined us again, so now it's 3-handed. Means that you don't necessarily have money in the pot to start with, and deuce, deuce, 3-10 should definitely be folded, even though I've seen crazy players like Phil Ivey, for example, play those kind of hands. I tend not to. It seems to be not very profitable in the long run to play those kind of hands. So king, 6, 5, 4, 4 spades. This is pot limit Omaha. You can only use 2 cards from your hand and not all 4. Else this would be a good hand, as you're almost guaranteed to make a spade flush, but you can only use 2, so this is a very poor starting hand. Easy fold. 18,399. I need to win $1,601 before I lose 18,400 to make this a successful plus 10k session. But it seems like I should be a overwhelming favorite to get to 20,000 before I get to 0. But as I said earlier, this is a very swingy game. This you can get a lot of money in pre-flop. Ace 10, 9, 9 with the ace suited. Rates to be a favorite in a heads-up situation. I'm against a small blind, but small blind usually tend not to raise unless they have a pretty decent starting hand, especially out of position, so I elect to call. Did flop top set. I am closing in on the 20,000. My opponent bets 2,400 and only has 4,400 left. I see no reason not to just put it all in. Decent chance of having the best hand. He has a heart draw, no heart. Oh, that was very ugly. He made the straight with a 9, and I'm down to 10,000, so I'm basically back to where I started. I was a pretty decent favorite with a set of 9s against a heart draw and a gut shot 8. But as I said, his hand also played pretty straightforward, so nothing wrong with any of those 2 decisions. 7, 6, 5, 3, no suits. Not a particularly great starting hand. Decided to play it anyway against Chufty. I now have a decision. I think I'm going to call and hope for a 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. In which case I am going to put the rest of the money in, which happened here. Just hope my 2 pair is the best hand and that it will hold up. It looks like 2 pair is definitely the best hand as we speak, and I don't believe Chufty has a flush draw. And he would probably he does have a flush draw and a pair. That was an easy call for him. And I'm now down to 2,000. This was an ugly turn of events from being basically a lock to go to 20,000. I'm now left with 2,000. They're all going to go in with the ace, king, king, 10, 1 suit. And basically it's looking very bleak for this little tiny session here. But hey, if I win this hand, I'm back to 4,000 something. He has a big rab, I'm a big dog. 3 kings doesn't change much. I am now down to 0. This was a very unsuccessful 10k try where I was 50 cents from reaching my 20,000 goal, but I guess I'll log off for this session and maybe I'll try again later. See you at theplayer.com.